So in today's video, I'm actually going to do my first unhaul. I haven't dedicated a video to just getting rid of books. I was like, you know what? I need to get rid of a little bit more. And this is hard for me because I don't like to get rid of books. Even sometimes books that I will maybe like DNF or don't like, I'll keep them. But now it's getting to the situation where I don't have room. The reality situation is I'm not going to stop buying books. I know myself. So I'm like, you know what? Every now and then, every couple of months, I'm going to get rid of books. So this is like the first batch. I know it'll probably be many more, but for right now, I got to take baby steps. So yeah. But let's just get started. I went through each one of the shelves in this room, and you guys know I have it categorized. So it's easy to go through it. And like I said, I went through each shelf. First, I went through the YA section, my YA middle grade, and these are the books that I am going to get rid of. Now, I think one of these I started and DNF'd it, and the rest I didn't even start. So this Feelings, a Story, and Reasons, I think I got this from the dollar store, and this was back in the day where I was just getting books just to get them. And then when I saw it was at the dollar store, I was like, oh yeah, only $1. And then that was during the time, remember, I was obsessed with comics. I was reading the, what's the comic? The little kind of raunchy comic. Sagas. Yeah, so anything that had like that was kind of like a comic-esque, I was getting them. But I haven't read this book, and I bought this like 3 years ago, I think. So yeah, I'm gonna get rid of it. Next is You Truly Assume by Layla Supreme. This was on my TBR for, was it last year or year before? And read it, stopped it, couple of months, read it again, still couldn't get into it. And I'm like, yeah, I like the gist of it, but again, you guys know how I feel about YA books. This is about a group of girls. They are all Muslim. It's like a terrorist attack, and they end up coming together. Like, they don't know each other, but they end up starting like a blog, and you see basically their separate lives and their lives together. I just couldn't get into it. And then these four, about 2 years ago, Penguin YA something, they sent me like, I want to say about 10 books, and these are the only ones that I did keep, because the other ones, they were like horror and fantasy, and I just cannot get down with that. I know I'm not gonna read this. I'll Give You the Sun. What is this about? Yeah, I don't want that. No, yeah, no. And I remember getting that package, and they had, I don't even think they had any Black authors on there. Yeah, I'm gonna get rid of that. That's the only YA. So far, those are all the YA books that I'm gonna get rid of. Next, these are like adult fiction, contemporary fiction. Yeah. This one, Leon Forrest, Meteor in the Madhouse. This one, when I looked it up, first of all, I wanted to get it because it was a Black author, and this is during the time where I was just getting books, you know, just because they were Black. It was only $6. I got it from Second and Charles, and this book was a Black male that I had never heard of. But when I was reading up on this book, he died before he finished it, so someone else wrote the ending. And a lot of times that'd be like a bust when an author passes and they're still working on something and they try to put it together. I've come across books that it just does not work. I don't even think, if I'm being honest, I've had a book in that situation that has worked well. So I'm like, yeah, no, we're gonna get rid of this. Next, I tried to read this and DNF'd it, and was very disappointed because it's a slavery themed book, and you guys know how much I love slavery themed books. It also was an Oprah Book Club pick, which that really doesn't matter, but you know how Oprah Book Club is a big deal. But it is The Sweetness of Water by Nathan Harris. I could not get into this, and I was so disappointed. This was on my TBR for, was it 2 years ago? And I tried to read this and couldn't. And the story, it sounds so good. You have two enslaved people that end up running away, and you have a family, a wife and a husband. I think they just lost their child in the war. They end up like at their house, and I guess they help them. It sounds good, right? But I just could not get into this, and I'm just so disappointed. Next is Eric Jerome Dickey, Pleasure. You guys remember last year, This was one of the series that I was going to read. It was 3 books in a series. 3 books in a series. It's called the Nia series. And I remember I said in January, I'm going to start off with this book. And never again will I start the year off with reading an erotica. It just, that put me, it almost put me in a reading slump, because I remember I was reading something in conjunction with this. And I just couldn't get down with it. Now, I read erotica. I have to take it in doses, though. I can't just read it over and over again, because the stuff that they do and say, it's not, sometimes it cannot be normal. Yeah, I don't know where they'd be coming up with that. But this, I mean, I'm a fan of Eric Jerome Dickey. I've read like 6 or 7 of his books. He's one of my favorite male authors, because I do like the way he writes women. But I had a problem with this one, because she would just be like in a random situation, and then all of a sudden she's sleeping with someone that you don't know. Where did they come from? Where did you like lead up to it? Like one situation, she was driving in a car with the young man, and it literally, they're talking in the car, and then all of a sudden, like 2 pages later, they're in the woods doing stuff. The way that he just writes it, he just plops it there, and it's like there's no context. And he did that the whole entire book, and I'm like, I cannot get down with this. Then I think she was also messing with, there were twin brothers, and she was messing with both of them, and they both knew about it, but they were still messing around with it. Yeah. Again, like I said, I read erotica, and this was just, it was not it. This was not it. I think I did a reading blog on this, and I told you guys that I just wasn't, I didn't enjoy it. So yeah, I'm gonna get rid of this. All right, next is The Mountain Sing by, I always get her name wrong. I'm not even gonna try to pronounce it. This is the author that wrote this book, Dust Child. Wing Fung Quay Mai, that's how you say it. You guys remember I did a video on this, reading the book in one day, and I was just, oh my gosh, this is my favorite book of last year. This book is so good. I would recommend you guys like read this book. And you guys remember in that reading blog, I said, oh, I have to get her first book, because this is her second book. And I got her first book. It didn't hit like this one. Yeah, I know it's set in the 1920s in Vietnam. She was forced to flee her family farm with her 6 children during the land reform as the communist government rises in the north. Her young granddaughter, she comes to her hometown or whatever, and like basically gets answers, learns about their family and things like that. And usually I like books like that, but yeah, it just wasn't hitting me. Next is The Sun Also Rises by Ernest Hemingway. No. I have discovered, people always talk about how he's like in a fantastic, like he's like one of the greatest, novelists, and Ernest Hemingway, This is the only Ernest Hemingway book I've read, and it probably will be the last. I did not like this at all. I just, I'm just not a fan of Ernest Hemingway, if I'm going to be honest. He don't do anything for me. I'm glad that this book wasn't that expensive. It was only $10. One is, known to be a classic. When I was doing some research on him, I saw a lot of people, when they read his books, they said the first one to start with is this one, because it is a little bit easier to navigate. And I just couldn't get down with it. I know there's also a movie of this, and I didn't like the movie either. Yeah. Next is The Mayor of Maxwell Street by Avery Cunningham. I know this one, I'm so sad that I don't like this one, because this is in the 1920s. The new author, this just came out a couple of months ago. It's in Chicago. You have like a well-to-do family, like Black elite. You guys know how much I love that. But she ends up, it's also kind of like a crime mystery too. It's a girl named Nellie, and then it's a young man named Jay. And Jay is like, he's biracial, and he ends up, I think, does he kill somebody or something, where he has to like flee, and he goes to Chicago. He opens like a a club that does like bootlegging or whatever, and then Nellie ends up getting like in cahoots with like this mob, and she's trying to take like this black, I guess, group down or whatever. It's a lot, okay? This with all that, it was boring. It was so boring. And when I tell you, I was so upset because I remember getting this book when it came out, and I was so excited, and the size didn't even intimidate me, and I'm like, oh, okay, a little crime novel, it's in the 1920s, I'm gonna like it. Yeah. Next is Back to Life by Wendy Lee Thompson, I believe. This I wanted to get because, of course, it's a book that no one knows. It's an author that no one knows. I read it. It was on my TBR a couple years ago. I liked it, but it's not worth me keeping it. It's about a young woman. I think her husband is messing around, and she ends up leaving him. There's some domestic abuse, but she falls in love with like another man, like in her healing journey. And it was good. I liked it, but yeah, again, it's not worth keeping. I love the cover. The cover is so pretty. But yeah, I don't want to keep this. And lastly, this book came out last year, and I'm not reading it, and I'm gonna tell you why. First of all, it is Life After Death by Sister Soldier. Now, when I first read, what's the book she's known for? Coldest Winter Ever. I was late to the game. I read that when I was like 28 years old. That was the first time I read a urban fiction book, and I'll be honest with y'all, I wasn't the biggest fan of The Coldest Winter Ever because winter frustrated me like nobody's business. Okay. The situations that she put herself in and all that, but again, she was a child. I have to keep on telling myself that. But I was willing to read the second book because if you guys know about the first book, I mean, look, we all know she ended up in jail, right? Okay. This book, I was thinking like, oh, okay, she's going to, finally out of jail. We're going to see how, her life was in jail. She could probably talk about it. I did not know that this book is so demonic. And last week when I was getting my hair done, my hairdresser was telling me about it, and she was like, are you gonna read the book? And at first I said, because she said it's not like you would think, and I said, well, just tell me, you know what I mean, you just tell me. And when she told me the stuff like she's Satan's girlfriend, and she turns into a snake when she has sex and all that, I'm like, I can't have that in my house. I don't even want to touch this book. That's how bad it is. Yeah, no. So I'm getting rid of that. I don't want to read it. And when I looked on what is it, Goodreads, it was rated low. Why in the world did she do that to the story? Well, we waited years to know about winter, and my hairstylist was talking about it. It's like winter is dead. I don't know. I mean, yeah, if y'all have read it, please tell me some more. Again, I don't care about spoilers because I'm not going to read it. But yeah, I just don't understand. Why didn't she just keep it simple? But that one I'm actually not that mad about. First of all, the publisher sent it to me, so I'm like, okay. And second of all, like, winter just didn't, I wasn't like really deep into her story to really just, oh my goodness, want to know about it, because this book came out what, 2 years ago or something like that, and I still haven't read it. And it looked like, if I'm being honest, I wasn't gonna read it. I just told my hairstylist, just tell me, because I have a feeling I'm not gonna read it. And yeah, I'm glad that she did, because it confirmed it. So yeah, guys, that is it when it comes to my unhaul. Again, I am going to be doing this every couple of months because, like I said, I have a lot of books. It's good for me because, like I said, it's hard for me to get rid of books, but I just don't want to keep them if I'm not going to read them. I just think that doesn't make sense. So yeah, guys, that's all I have for you, and I'll be back with more Black books. Bye.